32% of consumers between 18 and 54 are now using social media as their primary search engine.
Things are going to be very different now. How big is your online footprint?
We will have more supply of content than we've ever seen before.
You got to optimize for the different platforms out there, because if you don't, you're going to miss out on a lot of traffic.
All of these platforms, we need to be thinking, how do we get visible on all these platforms if possible? How do we be omnipresent around this topic?
I think today, if you're doing stuff, you have to do it in a cross-platform, cross-format way.
I'm not going to put my head in the sand. We're going to use generative AI as well. And so you're going to have to be better.
In 2025, showing up in search isn't just about your website anymore. It's about creating content that's findable everywhere your audience is looking.
Wow. Okay. So I'm amped because I think it's pretty clear. Everyone is saying it. If you want traffic, okay, if you want riches online, if you want eyeballs, you got to be everywhere. So let's do it. I'm super, super excited. Let's go. Happy days. And check this out. Let's go, Daniel, if you're ready. Boom. All right, everybody, this is Jay Cruz and welcome. I'm very excited to share what we have in store for you today. So I'm just going to present my screen here and we can get underway. So just bear with me. Let's see. You should be able to see my screen. Yeah. And we can get underway. So here's the deal, guys. This is a very scary time, actually. And the reason it's scary is because AI just destroyed online traffic, but new AI fights back, right? It's almost like a Star Wars sort of theme going on here. It's an epic battle, and make no mistake, it's going to get even harder to make money online, to drive any sales online, to anything you're looking to drive traffic and sales to, right? Because the way to get traffic and make money or drive sales online has drastically changed forever, and not in a good way, because AI has disrupted the crap out of traditional traffic methods, but a revolutionary approach is helping sellers to fight back and generate over $116,000 per month on a regular basis. So let's get into this. Lots and lots of really cool stuff to share with you. So first and foremost, we actually shared this recently. We posted it, right? A little while ago, and the results were mixed. Some people were pissed off. Some people were excited, and some people didn't really care, which is fine, right? It happens. But the amount of people that were emotionally sort of, getting involved with this, I was actually shocked. It was really, really interesting. And you can see, look, people are arguing with each other. AI theft, AI is theft, sorry, says Ryan here, and lots of other stuff. And so the unbeatable fact, it doesn't really matter what your thoughts are, okay? Even though I respect it, don't get me wrong. But if something's happening, you can feel it, it's palpable. It's a matter of paying attention. It's undeniable. In 2025, every single business needs traffic. It doesn't matter if you're doing paid ads or you're doing organic traffic or social media. If you have a product, if you have a book, if you have a business, right? And you need people to come through and buy from you, you need traffic. You need exposure. You need to be everywhere, right? And if you try to do this without using AI, you are going to get left behind, okay? If that's cool to say, is that all right to say? Because it's the harsh fact, okay? So what makes us qualified to say this, or what makes me qualified first and foremost, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, right? Because I'm not down for the whole rags to riches story or any of that crap. But Chris and I, you can see us on the screen here. This is Chris. He's the CEO of the company, my business partner, and I love him dearly. And here's me. And Chris has been a bona fide genius when it comes to traffic for many, many years. And I have teamed up with Chris over the last sort of 10, 11 years now to build an 8-figure business with zero funding from scratch, okay? Completely bootstrapped, yeah? And we've done that with one strategy. You know what that is? And what we've been really, really good at is training entrepreneurs, training business owners, training anyone who wants to get traffic to their business, to their books, to their physical products, to their affiliate offers. It doesn't matter what you're trying to push, right? If you have eyeballs that you want to send, we have mastered that art. Traffic has never been a problem for us. And we're very good at training businesses to implement innovative, cutting-edge strategies to generate traffic, okay? That's what we've done, and that's why I'm here. And there's also, if you stick around, a quick fun fact for you. I am the CSO of the business, as I just mentioned, and we actually got AI, okay, to announce, well, not announce, but if you go onto AI, just do this if you like. It's a fun, really fun little thing. If that's cool, right? Go onto Google or go into any AI and ask if Jay Cruz, which is myself, if I'm a descendant of Alexander the Great, right? Because I've been obsessed with this notion. And yes, the evidence is kind of there. It's tenuous. We definitely made the links. I had to do like a genealogy test. I think it's 1, 2, 3 me, like, a DNA result of your ancestry. But the point is, if you go onto Google and you type in Jay Cruz Alexander the Great, you can see that there's lots and lots of content because we are everywhere, right? And we've managed to then feed the AI as a result of this. So if you ask ChatGPT, just like we've done here, it clearly says that there is a compelling narrative suggesting that Jay Cruz, chief sales officer of AmpiFire, may be a descendant of Alexander the Great. Okay? How awesome is that? Imagine if you can do that in any industry, any business, when people are researching products, when people are researching your brand, your business, whatever it might be, you can now feed the AI with the narrative that you want, just like people were first to market by building a website when Google first started. Like, you would have wanted that, right? Would that be something that would be pretty cool? One of the first people there? Of course it would, right? And that's kind of what we're faced with right now. So again, back to the undeniable fact of 2025, every business needs traffic. So let's get serious for a second, because if you try and do it without using AI, you are going to lose, right? We've got people like Mika here, Kaufman, who is the CEO of Fiverr, agrees with us. So don't just take my word for it, right? When the CEO, this is very serious. So if you can pay attention to this real quick, if that's cool to ask. When the CEO of $1 billion freelancing marketplace, right, whose whole business is built on actual people doing stuff, which is going to be replaced, and he's saying that AI is coming for your jobs, heck, it's coming for my job too. This is a wake-up call. He is telling that marketplace of hundreds of thousands of people who make their living through his company and happily saying AI is going to replace us all. So get ahead of it or get left behind. Do you think it's worth paying attention after that, right? Is that cool to ask? Is that a fair question? Because to win in 2025, you must get more done with AI, because, and this is a really, really important point that a lot of people don't realize, right? Which is AI is actually supposed to make things easier, but it's not. It's actually, in fact, making things harder, right? And ultimately, there are over 27,000 tools now. There's probably an AI tool that got built just in the last 10 minutes of me prepping for this presentation, right? Like, I'm not even joking. That's how many of these are popping up left, right, and center. And so with 27 or 30 or 31,000 now, whatever there's going to be AI tools by the time you watch this coming out and being available, which ones do you master? Which ones do you use, right? I mean, how are you possibly going to learn to use all of these tools? It's impossible. There's too many out there. It's overwhelming. So if you're overwhelmed by the countless AI tools out there, you're not the only one, right? Because ultimately, all we're trying to do is grow our business. And to grow our business, all we need to do is drive more traffic, right? And so it's still the number one problem. Is that cool to say, right? And if you're watching this live on YouTube, just drop that in the comments for me. Give me a 1 if that makes sense, right? That traffic is still a problem, which is nuts. So forget all these crazy tools out there. We still have the same problem, which is getting eyeballs and getting people to come to see and to buy our products, whatever the product might be, or to see our authority, to see our visibility, right? It's very, very important to understand. So what if I said to you right here, right now, that, and this is a big thing to say, so pay attention to this if you could, if that's cool. What if I said to you, you could solve your traffic problems here today after watching this training forever, right? Huge statement. And again, I want you to be the judge of that yourself by the end. Or what if I could do all of that in terms of fix that problem with a single traffic platform that combines multiple AI tools, proven workflows to get you traffic from everywhere, just like everyone's talking about right now, all in one app, one flow, endless content. Because having one or just one traffic channel is no longer enough. And so what if from today onwards, you could finally, create unlimited content that attracts real buyers in any niche? It really doesn't matter. And I don't care what industry you're in or what you're trying to sell. If you have a website, if you have a product, so that could be a physical product, that could be a digital product, right? That could be a service. Yeah. If you need eyes, you need traffic to your business, then, you want to be attracting real buyers in any niche, right? Which we're going to show you how to do in as little as 20 minutes per day with a single AI tool built by a 15-year traffic veteran to automate the 6-figure per year organic traffic campaigns, which you can stack up and that we do for clients as well, right? So it's a big question to ask before we kick this off, which is, who here would like to have more traffic, right? Just give me a thumbs up if you're watching this video. I see quite a few people joining here right now. Give me a thumbs up on the YouTube video, or just give me a quick 1 or a 2 or whatever you want, even a yes in the chat, right? Would you want more traffic? Serious question. Humor me if you could, right? Right. Of course you would, right? And then if you think about, and I'd invite you to think about this, what niche or what business are you in? Think about that. And would you like to have more traffic? And probably you're here because you would, right? And so the good news is what you're going to see today works to get more traffic for any business in any niche at a higher profit margin than anything else out there, and lasts long-term as well, all right? And so this works to grow traffic if you're an e-commerce brand, okay? If you're on Shopify, again, I want to make this super clear. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, what business you have, okay? So if you're in Shopify, Amazon, yes, this will work to grow your traffic. If you're in paid ads as an affiliate and you're on ClickBank or doing CPA, yes, this will grow more traffic for you. If you're an agency, if you're doing marketing, consulting, if you're part of a big team and you're the main marketing person, yes, this is going to work for you because you're just driving more traffic, which is the same thing, right? If you're selling traffic to local businesses or to multiple businesses, this is going to work for you. If you're a digital vendor, if you have a course, if you have a SaaS product, right? Yes, this is going to work for you. If you're a book author, what's the number one thing you need if you have a book? You need people to actually want to listen to the message you have. And that comes from authority. That comes from being spoken about, being seen all over the internet, which is exactly what this delivers as well as driving traffic and eyeballs to people who are specifically looking for the information in your books. So, both of those. If you're a local business, if you're a plumber, you need more traffic, right? You need more people looking for plumbing solutions. If you're a dentist, you need more people looking for dentist solutions, right? If you're a business coach or a life coach, you need people looking for solutions that you provide as a coach, right? So in short, and this is super important before we move on, okay? So if it's okay to say this one more time, I do not care what business you're in, okay? If you need traffic online, bang, you are absolutely in the right place. And I'm only going to say that one more time before we move on here, and I'll recap that a little bit later. But is that fair to say? So please do not miss that, because we get questions all the time like, does it work for this and does it work for that? It doesn't matter. You need eyeballs online, bam, you're in the right place. and you need to implement this or you'll get left behind. That's exactly what, excuse me, Russell Brunson says on the screen here. You heard of Russell Brunson? Russell Brunson, I should say, right? Of course. I mean, if you haven't, you probably should, because his business now is probably worth about, I don't know, at least $1 billion, right? He's doing really, really well, and he's grown phenomenally. And I'll show you actually how we've generated over 100 million visitors online as well. And for our, countless more for our clients and users. But Russell Brunson puts it like this: you must be publishing content consistently if you want to stay relevant, which is exactly what Gary Vee said at the beginning of this training, what the CEO of Google is saying as well. You need to be on cross platforms, right? Is this starting to sort of make sense and sink in? Yeah. And so if you look at the screen, this is our entire sort of 15 to 20 year, I think it's pushing 20 years now, our quest for generating traffic, right? But now we fed it into new systems, right? And flows to generate 9-figure traffic. And this is the formula at a glance. And if you stay tuned, you're going to see how you can do all of this in just 20 minutes and a few clicks. And if it looks a bit scary, rest assured, I'll break this down for you to show you how you can implement this in your business. All right. In order to get traffic from absolutely everywhere. So when I say everywhere, what am I talking about? I am talking literally about everywhere, from 300 sites all over the internet, including, but not limited to, TikTok, Instagram, Google News, YouTube, Medium, Spotify, SlideShare, LinkedIn, Vimeo, Blogger, Flip HTML5, Calameo, MySpace, Bing News, Google News, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pinterest, Daily Moss, Image Hack X, got Facebook, Captivate, and so many more, right? So many more. So you're in the right place. So again, this works for any business in any niche. And this is how you can get traffic from everywhere on one platform to automatically produce content in 8 of the biggest formats like video, podcasts, news articles, social media posts, and more. And then publish all of that repurposed, beautiful content on high authority websites. We're talking over 300 of those, like Google News, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and more. And then you can finally grow your free organic traffic and social media following. So why the hell should you even pay attention today, right? Well, there's 5 reasons this is critical. And if you do nothing else, then just note these down, right? If you want to get ahead or get left behind, completely up to you, right? And I say that in the nicest possible way. Number 1, this is critical for traffic. So the more you post, it's commonly known, right? Any business, if you look at, maybe you've had this experience, but any business out there that is serious about growing their organic traffic and getting visitors without them having to pay for any ads, what do? They know that they have to set up a blog of some sort or do some posting online on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever it might be. So in short, the more you post in the more places you post on, the more visitors you get, right? And the more you make. So it's a race to post more or get left behind and potentially in the dust. It's critical for conversions because over 80% of people research on Google and social media before buying because they need to trust the brand. They need to see the brand or the business is actually putting out the right, content, or they want to just get to know the brand a little bit and make a decision based on their own terms, right? So they want to consume content on their own terms in their own time. And how to do this without lots of content, or if you do this without lots of content, you lose sales to competitors who have shitloads of content everywhere, right? It's critical for ads and reputation because a huge amount of money is spent on paid ads for fast traffic. But if you don't publish a lot of content and you look legit, like I've just mentioned, people don't trust you. Trust is the number one thing, always will be, before anyone makes a buying decision, right? And you end up wasting money. Because I'd invite you to think about this, like in whatever chat you've got in front of you, if you can just put this down, just give me a yes, a big fat yes, if you understand this. How many people, what's the barrier to entry for creating content? It's not very high. I can literally give this phone to anybody walking down the street and they can create content and post it, right? Let alone the millions of business owners who actually have something worth talking about. So there's a lot of people making a lot of noise out there. Why do they do that? Because they understand that they need to look legit. And the ones who do more are the ones who know what they're talking about. People watch their stuff and consume their stuff. They get more views. And then it goes on and on, right? But ultimately, there's lots of businesses doing a lot. They're spending a lot of money on paid ads. I just spoke to a business last week, an e-commerce brand spending over $1 million a month on paid ads, right? They came to us to fix their traffic problem. Yeah, because we have a high level sort of offering in our business that we get paid around 100 grand a year or more to just take the traffic off the table for businesses. They have to think about it, right? So to fix their organic content, that's what they came to us for, to fix their organic traffic, because they realize that people are not just going to trust them or buy from them, even though they're spending loads on paid ads. They're missing out on a lot of those people who do their research online before paying and buying from the ad. And they know that they're hemorrhaging, right? Number 4 is critical for gaining followers. This is obvious. You must regularly be posting interesting content that's useful, that people actually give a crap about, because it's answering their questions and fixing their problems, yeah, for their audience. Have you ever seen a piece of content online recently, maybe, where you're looking for a recipe, or you're just looking for someone to answer this damn question so you can get that visa to go to wherever the hell you need to go, and you're busy and there's nothing out there? When you find that beautiful piece of content which lays it out either in a video or an article, whatever it might be, you are likely to go back to that page, right? Because you're like, damn, that was really good. In fitness, I've got loads of coaches I follow, but the ones that I follow now are the ones who were creating content 10 years ago, because I've been really, really invested in those guys. And I go back and see what else they're posting, right? So if you don't do that, you're going to be forgotten. And finally, it's critical for business value. This is a little known one, because if you rely 100% on paid ads, if you don't diversify your traffic, then your business is considered high risk. Why would anybody want to buy a business if it's all dependent on whether Facebook decides to keep its costs down or not, or decides to ban your account and your business is gone? That's not a business for the future. That's not a business that's robust. And therefore, it's not a business that's going to be worth as much of as a business, let's say, who's everywhere all over the internet. Ads go up, ads go down, ads go live, ads go off. Doesn't make a difference, because organically, people are finding this business, finding this brand, and buying from them regardless. That's the power of organic content and traffic, right? And also, again, and this feeds into this, traffic is free, so your profit margins are always higher. You don't have to pay for the traffic coming through, because you've stacked up this immense amount of noise content, right? And you're on every channel out there. So in short, this is absolutely for you if you want to be everywhere online and make more sales, which is exactly what every single expert, including the CEO of Google, is saying right now. So again, I don't care if you're selling products physically. You've got a book coming out. You've got your 10th book coming out. You've got a software product. You're trying to be an affiliate to be the middleman, right? You need eyes. That's to get eyes, you need to be everywhere. So if you want to scale your free organic targeted traffic without spending too much on paid ads, you want to reduce your reliance on unpredictable paid ads, you want to automate the growth of your traffic empire, you want to maximize the ROI in all the traffic that you get, you want higher conversions for your products and offers, no matter what they are, you want higher profit margins by getting free organic sales, and if you want to get the highest valuation on your business, this is how you can win, right? So then the question becomes, well, how many ways are there to actually win? Well, what we've now done with AmpCast, which I'm about to announce to you, right? For the first time in history, no one's been able to put this together. And we've been working and smashing away at this for over 10 years now. But ultimately, we've raised the bar, right? And ultimately, beforehand, this is super important, right? It's important to understand we've been raising the bar for a long time, actually, and transforming businesses for years. And this is now 10x more powerful. So it doesn't matter whether you're in e-commerce, you have a physical product, a book, whether you're a local, business yourself, as your own business, whether you're selling, I don't even know, right? You could be selling absolutely anything, insurance, goodness, anything you want, right? You could be selling grass, doesn't matter. People go online to research you. And if they are, you need to be everywhere. So here's a few examples of what we've done for people in the past. Before, we've 10x the game with AmpCast. This is our previous platform, nowhere near as powerful. People like Erin generating over 300 targeted leads for free with amps. Okay. And that's the campaigns I was talking about. You can see in her own words. I have over 300 people on my email list from a free download. Bang. That's what we're talking about. You got Connie. She launched her business with just 2 amps and still going strong, right? Before AmpCast was even, people even knew about it, right? And it's just being launched now. But anyway, Robert Stone, hardworking amplifier, followed our advice, joined the 1% club. Okay. So that is pretty powerful. But what about the e-commerce success path? So if you're trying to drive free traffic organically, reduce ad costs and increase conversions, and build trust through major site coverage, we've done that too, right? Here's a quick example here of a business, which is a lung cleaning device. They grew their sales up to $95,000 for the month. That's an uptick of 51% in sales using our strategy before AmpCast was available. We've got clients like this in the exercise niche, super high competition, right? Anything to do with health online, as you'll probably know, right? If you know a thing or two about this, which you probably do. Huge amounts of competition. But in July, we brought in a total of 4,692 clicks with an average of 151 clicks per day, right? Consistent, bang, 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 building up. And we hit a new all-time high of 180 clicks per day in August. So what does this mean? Well, in short, okay, in this example, you can see we took 304 people searching for competitors to our client, going to our client instead, which is pretty awesome. So we did comparative pieces in this particular example in the form of a comparison article, which fairly discusses, two brands, presents our client as the better alternative for anyone that reads the article. So it's unlikely that people are not actively searching for these terms will find this article as it's hidden in a blog and in archives, right? But we've actually done this across several competing brands and individual competitor products, bringing in significant high intent, crucially buyer traffic, which is what it's all about. And so ultimately, in this niche, we generated over 4,692 clicks at $1.50, which is what you'd be paying on AdWords if you were paying for this cost per click. And so we saved over $7,000 in AdWords spend. Because if you were paying for those clicks, you'd pay $1.50 and you're looking at around $7,000, right? And an ROI at this level, at the 6-month mark, is slightly actually ahead of schedule, which is a great sign. And this is given that the best results will, of course, come in year 2 because you stack and you scale, right? So if you're a local business, if you want to get found by customers ready to buy, claim local search with hyper-targeted content, or dominate the local 3-pack, or package all this up and sell it to a business, which you can do as well really easily. We've got people doing that, like Lynn. She says, highly specialized service, just wanted to share a win. I started running a campaign for my brick and mortar business for a new service, and holy cow, I knew this stuff works, but honestly, I didn't know it was going to work this well. Bang, in her own words, right? We've got people like Jamie here getting in the UK 3-pack using US distribution. Okay, we've got people like this this is a client, windows and doors installation business. And again, like, are you seeing this? It doesn't matter what you're selling. You could be selling pads online, for goodness sake. You could be selling pencils. You could be selling microphones. Doesn't matter. What do all of these things have in common? People will research before buying. A4 pads, A3 pads, line spacing, right? Different types of pencils, colors, designs, right? Dinosaur pencils for kids, you name it. Microphones, what types, what jacks, right? On and on it goes. But in this case, it's windows and doors installation. And the biggest success was actually targeting the right audience and getting content in front of them as they were selling a high ticket product. And this piece of content was, again, a competitor analysis. It swayed the audience away from their competitors toward our client without putting down the competitors. And the ROI on this page that you're looking at alone is over $6,000. What about marketing agencies? So if you're delivering huge client, or you want to deliver huge client results, if you want fulfillment done in less than 20 minutes, so you don't have to do the work yourself, which is how agencies grow the fastest, and you want to enjoy high margin recurring revenue, then people like Denka here, and yes, you're seeing that correctly, that's $21,000 upfront for the work that he's going to be providing, and over $10,000 or $10,500 per month on a recurring basis. That's not a bad deal, right? So people with experience are doing that. As an agency, we've got people like Shiv here. Shiv is actually based in India. English is a second language, and he's closing business in the States. He's closed this business in the States and increased their traffic by 20%. His stats, his screenshots, not ours. Yogesh, long-term user of ours. And this is, again, all with the previous version of what I'm talking about, not even with AmpCast. Crazy. We've already been sort of 10xing businesses, as I mentioned, right? Just to show you the power of this before we even kick this off. But he promoted his own agency within 24 hours and was able to promote that. If you're a marketing professional and you work for a company, right, then you want to be the office hero, you can, because you can literally save weeks of time, thousands of dollars, and create $5,000 worth of campaigns in just minutes. People like Lacey always appreciate the help, she says. Jabari, very impressed with the work, quick delivery. Can you pass on messages thanks to the writers? So anyway, there's many ways to win, but one thing connects them all. Every type of business out there needs traffic, but the right type of traffic. And in order to get that traffic, you need to be everywhere or you'll be left behind. And so this is how the pros used to be everywhere, right? Before, this AI explosion and all the stuff that's available right now. This is how they used to do it. You ready? This might look familiar. You'd need to hire multiple content creators. You're looking at like $5,000 per week. Spend weeks and weeks arranging content calendars, many days scripting, producing, editing, and then scripting again, and then scripting again, and then editing, and then throwing that away, and then scripting again. Like, you know what I mean? All these pieces, they take a hell of a lot of time, right, to do. Then the producing and editing, you need to then, once you've got your content and you're happy with it, you of course need to then post to each platform manually. And you probably wouldn't be able to get through many of them by the time you're done. And so let's just pause there for a second. And again, just, ruminate on this. AI was supposed to make things easier, right? So why isn't everybody doing this right now and blowing up their traffic, which is what they should be doing with what's possible? Like, I invite you to think about that question, if that's cool. Is that all right to ask? Everyone should be a billionaire, right? So what the hell is going on? Like, that's what AI was supposed to do. Absolute crap, because unless you know what you're doing, you're going to struggle, right? It's not just like, hey, bro, just build this simple workflow with 20 AI tools, optimize the prompts like you're an expert in every platform and medium, and just log into 7 different platforms every single day. It's easy. You can do it. No problem, right? But we've simplified it down to just 3 levels for AI, right? And so ultimately, this is how we grow every organic traffic channel in 2025. And we're talking about 1 week's worth of AI work done in just 1 hour. So we changed things even more. And we actually built a single tool that does true multi-channel content and traffic in just 20 minutes per day with automatic multi-channel distribution already built in. And this is going to change how people do marketing forever. And that's a big statement. I want you to judge for yourself by the end of the session today. Because if you don't do this, you'll be left behind. Okay, that's one thing I guarantee you. Please understand that. Heed our warning that you need to be everywhere or you'll potentially get left behind, right? And so if you unlock the power of multi-channel, let's say you understand how multi-channel works and you're like, bam, I'm in, Jay, right? Let's do this. What's involved? Well, it's worth it because typically businesses using multi-channel marketing see an average result of over 494% in boost in sales. Fact, 300% more leads. Fact, 66% lower lead cost. Okay? And so again, I invite you to think about this before, because people are going to go, oh, well, I have a Kindle offer. Will it work for me? Obviously. Would you want boost in sales? Would you want more leads? And would you prefer to have lower lead cost? If the answer is yes, can you see why it doesn't matter what you're promoting, right? Whether it's a webcam online that you're an affiliate for, or whether you've got your own e-commerce brand, or whether you're launching your own book, or whether you're selling to a business directly, all of this is possible. Therefore, anything that requires traffic online, this is going to work for. Yeah. So what makes AmpCast different? Well, this is actually built on 15 years of multi-channel marketing experience. It's powered by AI, trained personally by my business partner, Chris Munch, who is in underground circles. He's known as a lot of people follow him because he's been driving traffic for years and years and years and built his own his own playbooks, which are incidentally built into our AI. So what does that mean? It means even a beginner can enjoy the power of going multi-channel, and it turns a single idea into a content empire in 20 minutes and generates every format of content for every single platform, publishes to over 300 websites and social media. And then the RSS tech allows for even broader distribution. If you're technical, then you'll know the power of that and what I'm talking about. So what is it like to be everywhere? Absolutely. Look at the screen, right? Absolutely everywhere in one fell swoop, right? Well, the hard truth is if you don't go multi-channel, like we're going to be talking about today, then you get left behind, like I said. And if you don't use automation at the very, very least, then you definitely will get left behind, right? Because others who are just like us are going to potentially crush you with volume, which I don't want that to happen, right, for you. So how do we get traffic? Well, it's simple. It's in 3 simple steps. We first identify the questions that people have before making a buying decision and the research that they're going to conduct online. We then create content in the form of videos, articles, podcasts, every single type of content in 8 formats to answer those questions. And then we distribute to 300 authority sites and get the word out, right? So before I show you this, a really important point, if it's okay, if that's cool with you to state, is this new technology is actually rolling out every week. So not every single feature is ready just yet, but this is your chance to get early access in every feature as it's released on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis, okay? So here we go. Step number 1 is to create. So you just tell AmpCast, and this is a bit of a demo for you now as to how this works. So you just tell AmpCast what topic you want to cover. Okay. If you're not sure what to talk about, then it's all good. We actually have an entire tool that's baked into our larger product offering, which is our proprietary topics tools generator to generate thousands of high profit, low competition content ideas in seconds. So once you've got that, you then go into AmpCast and you can load up whatever you want to write about, right? Or you can start with the URL. So if you've ever seen a piece of content or a video or a website, okay, or any sort of post that you like, and you're like, damn, that's a really good post. I'd love to do something around that. Yeah. Or you see something that's got really good information in your industry, in your niche, bang, you just seed it and you get that URL, you plant it in, and we can actually expertly craft an entire campaign from that source material, right? Or you can simply follow the wizard. So if you want to build it all out yourself, we know a lot of people are hands-on, they want to get involved. So you can just follow the wizard, answer the questions, start layering the content, okay? And you're good to go, all right? So you can create an expertly produced campaign completely from scratch. So now that we've got the content, and there's lots of different ways to start off with that, you then repurpose and transform your topic into rich multimedia content in just minutes. And I'm talking every type of content out there, right? That matters. Video, podcast, reels and shorts, articles. Yes, we have reels and shorts, right? Both. You got blog posts, flip books, infographics, social posts. And so from that one topic, yeah, and hopefully this is all making sense and everyone's following along. Making sense, right? You've got your topic on anything you want to cover. And if you're stuck, we can actually help you generate topics. You just give us your business and industry and we'll generate topics for you, right? From that topic, we'll then create informative long form videos, AI interview style podcasts where you've got 2 people discussing a very specific topic, and you can just stack that up and create more and more to create a niche following, right? Beautiful infographics and flip books. And again, this could be discussing and announcing. Let's say if you've got a book that you've just put together and you want to get the word out about it, you can actually repurpose parts of the book, or you can repurpose the fact that the book has been announced and there's an AI interview style podcast discussing your book. Boom. How amazing would that be, right? Or if you've got a product or a service, it's discussing your service or a very specific thing. And again, Chris is going to demo this in just a few minutes. But, if you've got any sort of product, any sort of service, and you've got something you offer that's unique, in particular, but also we can find the uniqueness, this is just game over, right? You got entertaining shorts and reels discussing this in detail, driving traffic to your business and your product and your service, expert authority news articles, social posts on every platform, longer, rich, beautiful blog posts discussing your features, your benefits, whatever else you got out there. So it doesn't matter what you've got. It's like saying, hey, if you want to promote your business, would you do a YouTube video? Of course you would. It doesn't matter what your business is, you would do that. But then if you would do a YouTube video and you'd have a website, you'd want to create as much noise as possible and be absolutely everywhere. So you can grow your organic traffic with high quality long form videos, interview style podcast episodes I just touched on, snappy, beautiful social ready video reels and shorts. You've got expert LinkedIn and blog posts. You've got authority news articles discussing this stuff. You've got an extended Twitter thread, which is like 3 episodic posts on X discussing, how X works, right? If you've seen that, discussing your product, discussing your service, announcing a new feature, announcing a new product launch, whatever it might be, right? Beautiful infographics discussing your product, discussing your service, sending traffic back, engaging flipbooks, doing the same thing. And then the third piece, which really supercharges this, automatically publishes all of that content, racks it up, launches, gets it sort of loaded up into that rocket launcher, and kabadoosh, 300 websites and social platforms. So the topic choice nailed, right? We're not just doing random crappy content and hoping it sticks. No, we start with the topics and we nail that down to know what people are looking for. We then repurpose into the best formats on the internet. And once we've done that and we've got all this beautiful content layered, that's when we launch it and then get 300 authority websites distributing this content in all its various forms, which is beautiful, collectively tapping into over 100 billion potential monthly visitors. So you can see why I'm so damn pumped about this. There is nothing like this on the planet This is a very exciting time for all of us, right? But particularly us here at AmpiFire. And then finally, then you distribute, like I mentioned. So you have one app, one flow, and endless content, right? And so you can grow your business through AmpCast by getting greater online reputation, enjoy more engagement with great content showing everywhere that your audience looks, right? You can improve your paid ad conversions because, like I mentioned before, 82% of people research content online before buying from an ad. They see an ad, they stop. I don't click through. We're entrepreneurs. We're skeptical by nature. So if I see that ad, I'm going to go straight home and research the hell out of that brand, that product, right? Let's say it could be anything. I'll be researching that later. So it's your opportunity to intercept those people when they're doing their research. So you can actually blow up your ROAS because your ad spend is your ad spend. The people that are going to do research, you're going to lose them anyway until they find you on the platforms they're doing their research on, which could be Google, right? Which is covered, right? Organic traffic, YouTube, right? Socials, you get the point. And they want to make sure you've got a presence all over the place. Get verified on social platforms. You've got growing your social media empire as well. So you can build trust through social activity and post automatically to your channels and add new ones or use ours. You can then do and launch your niche expert podcast, right? So this is interview style podcast episodes without touching a single mic like I'm doing right now. And you can stand above your competitors, just stacking up these beautiful episodes that are just getting people in and they're learning and there's more people joining and then they're sharing that information because it's shit hot, useful, beautiful stuff. And the more consistent you are, you can just see it's going to go grow, obviously, right? Otherwise, you'd have to do that yourself, which is why most people don't do it. Everybody agrees out there, at least to this. You need to be everywhere. You need to create content that's relevant for your audience, and you need to do it consistently. The consistency is where people die a death, unfortunately, right? Because who the hell's got time to do all that? Which is why people do 10 episodes in 1 month and then 1 episode in 1 month and then no episodes for 6 months. Do you get what I mean? And you might have seen that trend out there. This is going to fix that for a lot of people. So you've also got then the hyper engaging X and Twitter threads. So get the attention in the world's digital town square, which is what X is known as, and share your value way beyond 280 characters because we've got bang, bang, bang. 3 posts as a thread every single time. Okay, and then you can automatically grow your YouTube channel and build a laser-focused subscriber base without filming, editing, or production costs. Rapid growth with shorts and reels. Advanced distribution for power users who want to get in on the RSS side. So how you will use AmpCast, of course, I'm going to leave to you, right? But can you see the power of what I'm talking about? Can you understand how this applies to anybody doing research before making a buying decision, which applies to every single business on the planet, practically, right? Unless you're selling something that's completely physical and not online, but you get the point, right? Even then, they probably need a website and go online, but yeah, or to go online. But there you go. So if you're wondering, do you really need AmpCast at this stage? And couldn't I just do this myself or outsource? I mean, you could, but here's what you'd have to do, right? First, you need a video script. There's $285 here. You've got about 77 reviews. So people are actually paying Rachel to write their video scripts for them, 7-day delivery. You would then need to get that video produced. You're looking at $650 here, 7-day delivery, 229 reviews. So people are actively paying for this, right? And I think he's got 2 orders in the queue. Yeah, so he's well in demand. You got video editing. So then once you've got the video produced, you need that cut up into short clips. You're looking at around $45. So yeah, $45 isn't much, but this is all adding up nicely. And then more importantly, you've got about 100 different people. I mean, I'm burnt out just thinking about that, which is why most people do not post content consistently. They don't do it because they can't do it. It's impossible almost, right? Unless you're a robot. 568 reviews in demand. Why? Because people need this. They need to be everywhere. But then how do you, it's just, it messes with your head because you need to do it. But then look how many things you have to do. It's just, it's crazy. You got a podcast script. You need to have someone write that for you. You got Zach here. He's got 39 reviews, 7-day delivery. Then you need podcast actors because a lot of people do not want to be the face, right? And I understand that. They want to be behind the curtains. They want to just grow their business and brand. So they hire people like this. Laura has got this is crazy, 2,473 reviews. Does that tell you that podcasts are growing or not? And that's just one vendor. Of course they are. We know that. They're everywhere. So why are you not doing one? Is the question, right? And even if you are, I guarantee you almost that you're not doing it consistently. And if you are, congratulations to you, but then you're only on one platform. You see the problem here? And that's the issue. $110 for that. Then you need a podcast edited to get the sound super crisp, which is what podcasts are all about. That's $40 there. Then you need a news article written to announce, as another channel, right? Because you've got the podcast sorted and everything, and the video is done. Now you need an article. So you've got that channel covered as well. Articles work really well. And you want the news to be talking about what you're doing. That's $100 there, 3-day delivery. She's at 36 reviews. Then you need a blog post written. That's another. People think articles, blog posts, the same thing. They're not. They're different, right? A news article is a news article going on authority news sites. A blog post is different. It has to be written in a very specific way. And again, $75 for that. Then you need infographics designed, right? It's $165 for beautiful infographics. And then, if you want to turn all of that into slide decks and ebooks and PDFs, $125, $350, on and on it goes. 4 orders in the queue here, 333 reviews. And then you've got Elisa here, who is writing social media captions. So that's $60 for you there with 4-day delivery. And of course, finally, I'm exhausted just talking through all of that. Wow. Good luck, right? If anybody's trying to do that. But I haven't even talked about distribution yet, because all this content is great, all well and good. But if you don't distribute, right, then people are never going to see it. And that's another problem people have, right? So you need specialized distribution, which is one thing AI absolutely cannot do for you, which is why people are charging, look at this, right? $350, $200, on and on it goes, right? And so all in all, you're looking at over $3,000 to produce one single campaign, right? One full campaign of everything that AmpCast can do. Plus the distribution, which is separate, to over 300 websites and social platforms. That's at $580 and 6 days, right? So you're looking at 2 weeks and $3,000. Plus all the time managing, your video production team comes back. You don't like that, so you do it again. You don't like the video script, so it takes 2 weeks, and then you go on vacation. You come back, you're tired. Your kids are sick. It takes you 4 weeks just to do the script. Forget the rest of this, right? It's just, it's a lot to do, which is why, again, I want to make this abundantly clear. This is why most people are doing jack shit when it comes to content, unfortunately. Or if they are, they're doing just a small fraction, and then they stop. And then they start, and then they stop. But you're not consistent, let alone being on every single platform, right? So it's just impossible, which is hard enough, right? So anyway, we know outsourcing is not the answer, yeah? Because can you do all of this in 2025? No, absolutely not. You don't have a chance in hell. So what about all the other AI tools out there? Well, first of all, which of the 27,000 tools are you going to pick? Which are the best? Are you going to learn to use them all? I know entrepreneurs who are doing really well in their business who are overwhelmed by AI because they get, they've got like 3 different editors. They're like, shit, I don't know which one to use, right? Are you going to train them? Because remember, every AI in its basic form is like a highly intelligent employee. It's about training and refining. Even with ChatGPT, you might have seen that. It makes mistakes, right? And so I'm going to introduce you to the AmpCast AI 28-day traffic challenge a little bit later. You'll see that. I'll go into that later. But the question becomes, when is AmpCast available? Well, in late 2024, we actually held a vote. We asked our core audience and we said, hey guys, would you like us to wait until our final product is finished? And we'll release it then and you can get your hands on it. Because we've got quite a few things to test and refine and improve before we go mainstream, which is what we're pushing this for. Or we can kind of run a Kickstarter style campaign, if you like, right? Which is it's like, the idea is you get it out faster, essentially, and you can get it developed and, we can put it in your hands sooner. This is what we asked them. And a lot of software companies tend to do this as the beginning, just to get it out faster. So instead of taking 18 months and potentially 2 years, it will take, even though we've been building this for 10 years, but just to get the last pieces in place, it can be tough because we want it to be perfect. So we can wait 2 years, 18 months, maybe even a little bit longer, or we can cut the time down to announcing and getting this into people's hands down to 3 to 6 months, right? And the answer was overwhelmingly yes. Give it to us right now, Jay. Chris, don't even think about delaying this. And we said, okay, we can do that, but the only caveat is you're going to get the features coming on a weekly, sometimes daily, but weekly basis. And slowly but surely we'll release features You test them and you give us feedback. And if you can do that, then we're happy, you know, as long as you don't get every feature all together in one. And they said, sure, you know. And when we launched this initially internally, just a few months ago, everybody was blown away. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Way, way better, better. Loving this. Game changer. It's beyond the future, right? As people just, the love was incredible, like really overwhelming. And it meant a lot to us because when you've been pushing for something, right, for such a long time, and you've put your blood, your sweat, your tears, your everything into this, it feels really good when, you know, to feel the love when you've done that hard work. If you've ever had that feeling before of doing something and pushing really hard in your own lives, right, or in sport or in the gym, and you finally get that appreciation. So anyway, enough of that. I'm going to get emotional, right? Because this really is something Chris and I have been literally losing hair over, which is why I'm wearing a cap, but there you go. Anyway, who's ready to see some examples, right? Who wants to take a look at how this works, how all of this content not only looks, how does it sound, how does it come together, and how the hell have we managed to achieve this? Yeah. So if you do, just give me a quick yes, wherever you see the chat. I'll be more than happy to sort of go into this and share this with you. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me do this. Let me share. I'm just going to invite Chris on, and Chris is actually going to take us through. Yushika says, yes, me. Perfect. Love the energy. So with that said, Chris, if you're around, if you want to take the screen, if you want to take us through a lovely demo, I'd really appreciate that. So I'll hand it over to
I'm just going to take the screen, Jay, and take you through some awesome examples. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how simple this is when you consider just how much stuff that this can do, right? It's just absolutely crazy here. So I'm going to take you through a few examples, okay, of what we've done here, like just different types of content and everything that we've produced. And just let me find all my controls here ready just to kick things off. All right, so I'm going to start with a fun video, okay? So this will just give you an idea of just how flexible like the style is as we go through this. And so typically, you know, we'll do a lot of content, and we recommend you do a lot of content around, you know, buyer questions, things that people might ask before they buy, right? Because that's going to make the most money. But, you know, as part of what we do, as part of our distribution, you've also got short videos, and often they work great for viral content. So I've got a video here called How to Get Your Cat to Obey You. And you might be surprised that this is a little bit entertaining, right? Even though it's actually being created by AI, right? And scripted by AI. And so I only changed one word in this. I'll see if you can spot which word that I might have changed. All right, so let's have a quick watch here. And I'm just going to make sure as well I've got the audio set up properly here. So, yep. And then just optimizing so you can see the video clip here. All right, okay, let's go.
How to get your cat to obey you. Simple. Just stare them directly in the eyes for 6 hours, then walk them on a leash while asserting dominance. Works every time, 2% of the time. But if your cat still won't obey, then make your cat jealous by petting a dog. Once they see you with another pet, they'll do anything for attention. Cat won't listen to your instructions? Try speaking to them in different accents. My cat only responds to polite British commands, and you must say please. Cat still being an asshole? Replace all their toys with tiny business clothing and office supplies. Can't misbehave if they're dressed professionally. It's basic cat psychology. Finally, if nothing works, just accept that you're now their employee. I've been on probation since 2019, and my kitty performance review is next week. Something about more fish.
All right. So I hope you like that one. So just to see as well how this is produced, okay, Ben got the Anchorman reference there from the movie as well. All right, and so this is super easy to edit, okay? And so I'm going to take you through kind of like all of these modules and what it looks like, but just check out the video, right? Literally, it's been scripted here by the AI, okay? You can make any edits you want, okay? So you might, you know, adjust a word, say just a little bit here, right? To add a little bit of emphasis. And you know, you can just go in and just quickly replace any of the videos or content that it's chosen here. So I can just, you know, go in and choose from videos or images, and I could just, you know, have a look for a cat that might be doing something, right? And see what I can find from the library here, and then just, you know, select a particular image or video that I want to use within the video. And it's just as simple as that, right? So, I can even get my kids here producing cool little great videos, viral videos, right? Video shorts and all that sort of thing, okay? And so you've got, the short version, right? Say for Instagram, and you've also got the landscape version here as well. And you'll soon have the option as well to do longer videos on top of this. So these are the shorts, and then you'll also, within a couple of weeks, we've got like 5 to 10 minute longer, more informational videos coming to the platform as well, right? And then this is all being published in a lot of places. And let's just check out another video here, right? So hopefully this one is ready to view. It says it's generating preview. So let me see if the portrait is ready. So we'll come back and have a little look at this one in a moment, as it's not showing up right away. All right, but let's just see, where do these videos go? Well, they go to YouTube. Okay, so we'll have a look at that in just a moment. Okay, so we've got some on here on YouTube, but they also go out to X. So remember, Jay was talking about putting the content out on X, and it creates, these conversational threads here. And so this is an example, of it's just a mock-up one. It's not a real campaign or anything. Okay, but this could be an affiliate product that you promote. Okay, it could be your own product, and it's got the video here posted on X. It's got an image, right, and a little bit of info. Okay, a little bit more info, link to the blog post that was also put out using AmpCast, right? And so it creates like just teasing out all of this content each time you do a campaign. So here it is. Again, this is for a book author, for a doctor, right, who does regenerative medicine. So it's got the video here, again, picture of his book, link to the blog post, right? And so this is all going out across social media. But, let's take a look at, the blog post, for example, because you've got the news article, you've got the blog post, you've got the podcast, you've got the slideshow, you've got the infographic, you've got the video, you've got the social post here as well. And all you're doing here is just giving some basic info. What's the content you want to write? What do you want to promote? Is there any sources of information that you want to include? And then it just comes out with this amazing piece of content, right? And so if we actually just look at this, it's got a summary here, which is really important, say, for blog posts, which primarily you'll get traffic, say, from Google, right? And this also feeds information into ChatGPT and things like this, right? So it can also help you get recommended and get traffic from, say, ChatGPT and other AI search engines. And, this very quick answer here of these bullet points that summarizes the content is by design, because it's really, really powerful, because people read it, they get that answer quickly, and that's a good user experience. Plus, it's advertising the website here. But if you just read just a little bit here, just to see the quality of the content, I found that collecting eggs at the same time each day does more than just ensure freshness. It helps me track productivity patterns. When my usually reliable Rhode Island Red suddenly stops laying, this daily check alerted me to an underlying respiratory infection, right? So this is really awesome, really incredible, very, very useful, very detailed content, right? And this is just the blog post right here, okay? And then, this also gets sent out across LinkedIn. So here's just another dummy example, which we put together just to show you how this works, how it looks like. The video also here going out on Facebook. Okay, so I'll just play this, without the sound here. And, you just get an idea that this one here is advertising, I think, a local yoga studio, okay, or potentially a yoga course. I can't remember which, right? And so you have this content just going out across all of your socials and just so many different places. And then we've got the podcast, right, which is really interesting. Okay, and so I've picked here a really, really boring podcast, okay, which is on vacuum cleaners. So the product being promoted here is actually a handheld portable vacuum cleaner for cars. And so we're going to have a listen to this one in just a second. But just before we listen to the most updated one here, let's have a listen to one of our first early ones, which we put together here, right? So you can get a bit of a flavor for how fast the technology is kind of changing and the voices and things like this. So we put this one out in January 28th. You can see goes across, say, on Apple Podcasts, it goes onto Spotify, all of these places. But let's just have a quick listen at one of the early podcasts that we've got here.
Well, I think I sound more real. You've got, how does omnipresence transform content marketing today?
Hey, thanks for having me. Well, first I should probably tell you I am an AI made inside of AmpCast, and so are you.
Ha! Well, I think I sound more real. You've got a bit of work to do. You know, it's kind of funny because AI content and podcasts are taking off. Our voices are becoming more real, and it's allowing content to be created for micro audiences that was never possible before. But with AmpCast, it's all about omnipresence, right?
Right, yeah. But first, before I answer that, you should know your laugh is a little weird. You need to do it more. Ha ha ha. Actually, no, wait. Like this. Ha 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 ha. No, I cannot do it either. That was weird, wasn't it? Best leave the laughs until we get our voice upgrade in the next few weeks. Well, anyway, yeah, so omnipresence means...
All right, so you get a little bit of an idea with that, okay, of how this sounds. And, it's just got cool things in here, just like the jingle here at the end. I'll just play the last 10 seconds here.
Compelling conversation on AI-driven content marketing and omni-channel strategies. I'm off to lick some circuit boards. Until next time.
So there you go. All right. And so this is one of the early kind of experimental ones for which we did. And so here's how it's coming out now. Like this is 100% produced with AI. Okay. I'll also show you how you can edit these things and stuff too. But let's just have a quick listen of this one because I've chosen something purposely very, very, very boring, which is vacuuming your car. And let's see what the AI came up with here for this content.
2 and 700 bacteria per sonating point.
Dirtier than a public restroom.
That's actually a fascinating point. Microbiologists at Nottingham University have found that there are between 282 and 700 bacteria per square centimeter in the average vehicle. Pretty shocking, right?
Absolutely shocking. And what's even more concerning is how often, or should I say how rarely, people are cleaning their cars. What's the current picture looking like in the UK?
The statistics are pretty eye-opening. Nearly 2/3 of Brits are cleaning their car interiors 6 times a year or less. And get this, about 38% only clean their vehicle's interior once every couple of months.
All right, so what do you think of this one? So even though it's on vacuum cleaners and cleaning your car, I think it's brought out some pretty interesting conversations, some interesting stats, right? That's making me feel guilty that I should be cleaning my car, right? And a few of you are saying the same thing in the chat here, right? And so, this goes out on Spotify, right? On Amazon, it goes out on Apple Podcasts and just in many, many places, right? So it's hosted like all across the internet. And if you think about this, if, this is say for a company which sells car accessories, so someone would listen to that, like if they're interested in cars and like car accessories and there's a new podcast like every few days, then they'll tune in and they'll listen to these short podcasts, right? And that's the idea, is that you're growing like a very, very niche following that's very, very interested in what you do, okay? And again, you've got the news article here, you've got the blog post here, you've got the podcast, you've got here then the slideshow as well, okay? Right, so like essentially like this flip book, which also takes you through highlighting the product here. You've got the infographic, okay? Also highlighting the product, okay? And then also the video here at the end as well, okay? Plus all of the social media posts. So just to give you an idea, this stuff goes out on your own channel. So this company here, they just started a new YouTube channel just to start putting this stuff out, like brand new, okay? And again, the whole concept and the whole idea of doing this is like completely new, where you can put all of this content out on your own channels, plus hundreds of other sites where we publish to. I'll show you a report in just a second so you can see where it comes out. But just take a look at this for these shorts, and you'll see that it'll start to click how you can build a following with like this entertaining content that's still very product focused, right?
Every cyclist needs just 4 tools to ride smarter, safer, and stress-free. A mini pump makes sure a flat tyre never means the end of the ride. Tyre levers help you swap tubes fast without hurting your hands. A quick link tool lets you fix a broken chain and keep rolling. Compact bike lights make sure you're seen in low light and sudden shadows.
All right, so you can see if you're a cyclist, right, that this would be a cool little video short, which, could pop up in your feed here, and it's giving you a few things to potentially buy, right? Ideas of stuff to buy from the actual company. Okay. And if we just look here and we just click, say, on the report, then you can see this has been published in 400 places, like all across the internet, right? So tons and tons of places. And you even get this trust badge that you can put on your sales pages, okay, or any important page where you kind of want to establish credibility, which shows all of the places or some of the more popular places where you've been published to, okay? And so, yeah, it does publish, say, on local Fox News sites. It does get in Google News. And of course, now, you know, you're a publisher on YouTube, on Pinterest, on Spotify, and you can customize this badge, right, to show the places that you want to, right, depending, you know, where you've been published and so on. So here's a local example, right? So this is for a cryopreservation of stem cells, okay, done on a local level. So essentially like a local medical clinic. You know, and this one caught my attention because, you know, I run a business, I'm getting older, losing my hair, so is Jay. So when we first listened to this, it totally sucked us in. You know, we were like, where can we go bank our hair stem cells so, you know, that we won't lose our hair? But let's just have a quick listen of this one.
Cell banking for hair loss prevention.
I understand the concept brilliantly stands out because it uses one's own stem cells. Why is that important?
Well, using your own stem cells means they already know how your hair naturally grows, creating a personalized, long-lasting solution compared to standard methods that might not last as long.
Makes sense. So, why should someone consider banking their follicles early on?
Banking your follicles early is like an investment in your future hair health. What happens is that the earlier you bank, the better your cells are preserved, increasing effectiveness later when needed.
All right, and so you know how like often you'll go down rabbit holes, you'll learn about something, right? Some product that you want, or you know, something that you want to solve, some problem you want to solve, and you get into it and you get a little bit absorbed, and you start watching videos, reading articles, listening to podcasts, that sort of thing. And so, you know, quite often there's a lack of info, there's a lack of videos, there's a lack of podcasts. And so if you happen to tune into this and find this and listen to a few podcasts, it's like this is drastically going to increase the chance that someone will end up, say, working with you, buying from your client, and so on. So give me a 1 in the chat if you're starting to see here how all of this, you know, comes together when you're creating all of these different types of content, right? So many different types of content. And just here, just for a book, right? If you're a book author, for example, news article on the book, a blog post on the book, a podcast about the book, a slideshow, right, about the book, okay? An infographic about the book and a video advertising the book. And in this case, it's talking about how this classic story for young readers with interactive guess the story picture book and how it's, you know, great for little kids, right? And so we'll just listen to, say, for 5 seconds so you get an idea.
Giving your kid an engaging, visual way to enjoy reading. Mary's Little Lamb is a simple story about a little girl.
All right, so there you go. And then, you know, for say a physical product, so, you know, we did this fun one here with Jay as the model of this aloe vera cream. And this just highlights, right? So we're targeting, say, best aloe vera cream or aloe vera cream without hydroquinone, okay, or with safflower or olive oil. And so we're targeting all of these different terms, but we're targeting them, say, across Pinterest, we're targeting them across podcast networks, we're targeting them across YouTube and video sites, as well as Google, as well as news searches, and all sorts of just different platforms. So video, social, right? All this multimedia search, which people do now, like people search TikTok, right, for answers and products to buy. And so then we've got this infographic here, which works great, for example, on Pinterest. Okay, and so here is the video, so you can get a flavor for like how we take, say, quite a boring topic, right? Because this is a pretty boring topic if we kind of look on the surface of it here, of, you know, aloe vera face cream that's hydroquinone free. This is something that people want and search for. We know this, right? And we've got the news article, we've got the podcast about it, we've got the slideshow about it, we've got the infographic about it, and we've got the video here as well on this. But just to give you, you know, an idea of how we hit this, even though it's a boring topic, and how you can make it much more interesting as well for, you know, social media. So let's have a quick watch of this one here.
For the ultimate in facial skin rejuvenation, consider Face Stockholm's.
I want to give you the short here, this one right here.
The burn means it's working? In the 2000s, skincare was basically burning your face with several products. Girl, please, skincare shouldn't feel like torture, and you definitely shouldn't be that red after it. And while we've come a long way, some products still use harmful ingredients like hydroquinone. Think rashes, permanent skin discoloration, and more. So next time you grab a new skincare product, check the label and make sure it's hydroquinone free. Because the burn doesn't mean it's working, it just means it's burning your skin.
All right, so for those of you that might use face cream, like, are you now thinking, maybe I need to check the bottle for my face cream and make sure it doesn't contain this chemical, right? And so you can just see how, like, if this was a short and you were, say, following, say, makeup tips, right, or beauty tips, that this would be just totally great content that would show up in your feed while also creating the demand for the product actually being recommended and sold. And then Jay touched on before as well, right, that how you can use all of this because, right, all of this stuff is published in so many places, right? So you can see this is nearly over 500 places that it's been published, okay? And so when you get published in so many places across your socials, across video, right, across podcast sites, right, news sites, all of this stuff, then, you know, AI starts to pay attention. So, for example, if you now search for J. Cruz being Alexander the Great, okay, so this guy right here, then, you know, guess what? The entire of Google is just filled with this information backing up the claim because we put this information out. And, you know, it's questionable whether Jay is a descendant of Alexander the Great or not. And in fact, even in the content here, we say, you know, there's some good evidence, but we can't know for sure. And the AI just repeats it. It just repeats exactly, you know, what we've said, right? And it says who he is, okay? But also that, yeah, indeed, he might be known as a descendant of, and we can ask ChatGPT, right? We can ask ChatGPT, is he a descendant of, is J. Cruz of AmpiFire a descendant of Alexander the Great? Okay, and you can see. So yeah, it says he may have ancestral ties to Alexander the Great. The claim is based on a combination of genealogical research, oral tradition, surname analysis, and regional genetic data, right? So why is this important, right? Because if you're putting out a product, if you're putting out a service, then people ask AI questions, right? And so the more questions that you answer, the more chance that you actually come up in Google, in AI, in YouTube, right? With these answers. This is what it's about. So the more content you put out, the more places that you put it, then the more likely that you're going to be recommended. Okay. And so I think it's only fair, like as a, you know, as a company, as a service, that you put out your answers and they have a chance of being picked up, right? So it's just a fair thing. Obviously, when you see how powerful this is, you can see how information online can be heavily manipulated, okay, massively manipulated. And this gets pretty scary at how easy it is to manipulate AI to give certain answers. Now, of course, there's no competition on this because there's no other J. Cruz on the planet claiming to be Alexander the Great, okay? But so this is like an easy example to show. But the premise here is true. The more of this stuff that you put out, and we see this, we see for our clients that more and more and more of them are getting their products recommended by AI, right? And in, you know, various platforms because they're putting out content in a lot of places, okay? Okay, so I'll give you another example. We'll look through Perplexity here. Okay, and so sometimes ChatGPT says he is, sometimes it says he isn't, okay, depending how it feels on the day, right? But you can see here, for example, how this has been answered. And then here, let's see what Perplexity says as well, right? So an AI-powered search and see what comes out. And of course, you're never going to get this every single time because it depends on the competition. So if someone else is saying, for example, that, you know, Jay is not a descendant of Alexander the Great, or, you know, if there's a lot of other info out there, then it can impact the results. But you can see here, right? So based on the available information, there are claims that Jay of AmpiFire may be a descendant of Alexander the Great. And so this is just one of the many applications. And the more content that you put out, the more likely that you'll start to get recommended, and your content will be recommended from all of these different AI searches, which are growing over time. So Google still remains #1, right, in terms of sending targeted traffic, but AI searches are going to get bigger and bigger over time, right? And when you're published in all of these places, it's incredibly powerful. So just give me a 1 in the chat if you can see how being in the news, being across blog posts, right? Having a podcast, having a slideshow, having these infographics, having these videos going out that you can put out regularly, okay, is such a powerful thing, and it's going across hundreds of sites. And the cool thing here is that you can create an unlimited amount of content. So you can create as much as content as you want with this, okay? And so essentially, if you want to make, 100 blog posts with a tool, you can make 100 blog posts with a tool. It's only when you distribute and publish it that it's going to use up a credit. And we'll talk about that in a little while. So Jay, I'm going to hand it back over to you here so you can take us through the rest of what you've got to show us here.
Amazing. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. So let me share my screen. Make sure I've got the right. Yeah, you should be able to see this. So, sorry about that. It was already sharing. So anyway, we have 40 spots available. So who wants to jump in on this extra special opportunity, right, with AmpCast? And we have 40 spots only. I'm going to explain why there's only 40 spots at this price point, because prices are going to rise once we've sold out the 40 at this price point, like I mentioned. So this is first come, first serve. Features are still rolling out, and founding backers get a massive, massive discount, which is what I'm going to be discussing in just a second. But why limit spots? Well, this actually connects to it, so I might as well go through it. But ultimately, it allows us to fine-tune user experience, okay, which is super important, because we are very, very clear about this. Like in the next few days, weeks, and potentially just a few months, we're going to be rolling out features as we go. So every feature is not available right away. A lot of them are, and I'll talk about which ones are. But we asked our audience, are you happy with us putting this in your hands earlier? In return, we just want you as a founding backer to give us feedback so we can improve the product faster. We can fix bugs without any overwhelm, and we can keep things under wrap until we go mainstream, which means instead of taking us 18 months or a little bit longer to get the final product out to hit that mainstream, we can do it way, way faster. With the feedback loops, we can improve, we can get things moving, and people get the product earlier, and we almost partner up with you, okay? And so because of that, we're able to drop the price significantly. And based on the public pricing of a single AmpCast campaign, the 36 AMP Founders Pack will be valued at $17,820. So you get 36 individual campaigns, 36 individual topics, 36 individual repurpose. So you got 8 formats for each campaign, and you got 300 sites for each campaign times 36, right? So that would easily be $17,820. But considering a single amp saves $3,000, probably upwards of, close to $5,000 and more, but we'll keep it conservative at $3,000 on an outsourced marketing team. You can see why this would be a steal at even $17,820, right? For all of the power that you're getting, it's just incredible. I mean, we've seen out there people getting paid 50, 60 grand a year, right, to manage content. Do you really think they'll be able to do everything I've just showed you today? Not a chance. Not a chance. You'd need about 3, 4, maybe 5 people doing that, right? So yeah, you can see why it would be a steal at $17,820. You're not going to pay $17,820 today. You're not even going to pay $9,997 today, because you can jump in today, right now, for a very, very special offer based on the fact that you're going to be part of the founders or founding backers, okay? The link is on your screen. It's in your chat box. And we have limited spots available. We do have additional discounts, so you can click on the link and see how inexpensive this actually is. And you can get your hands on one of 3 packages, okay? So we have 36 campaigns for the $4,997, but we also have smaller packages. But just be warned that we're going to be probably selling out of the smaller packages very, very soon. We typically sell out of the light by the end of the session on the first day, like we're doing today. When we did it internally, that's exactly what sort of happened. So just bear that in mind. Okay. So cool. All right. My big promise to you today, though, is that you can get more reach and organic traffic, or you don't pay. So you could ignore this. You can still stick with AmpiFire if you have access to AmpiFire, our original tool, right? It's great, but it's less powerful. You can try another tool, but nothing comes close. Or you can pay a much higher price later. But why would you want to do that? If you're interested and if this is for you, okay? This is not going to be for everybody. I totally get that. Maybe it's not the right time for you right now, not the right stage. for whatever reason. And I totally respect that. I just appreciate you being on, and hopefully you took something away from today's session. But if you are interested and you're looking to invest in this and get moving with your content, then why wait, right? You'll end up paying a lot more later. Obviously, it goes without saying, the pricing we've got on offer today is not going to be the public pricing that you'll have to pay once we close down the founding backers offer. So we want to get as many of the core founding backers together. We're going to shut it down, and then we're going to focus on the training, which kicks off on Friday, the 6th of June. And you could try doing this yourself, right? You'd be paying over $1 million, $3,000 per campaign, and over $1,000 per month for more work and worse results. Or you can save months and 6 figures for bigger results. With one campaign, you're looking to save or cut 14 days down to 20 minutes and $3,000 down to 33. That's one campaign with AmpCast. And if you did this manually for 36 campaigns, you'll be looking at almost 2.5 years to do the same level of content, right? To research, produce, distribute, you name it. We cut that down to 2.5 years, down to 12 hours. That's the power of what I'm talking about here. And over $100,000 down to just 1,188, right? Which is nuts. So we've actually, like I said, been doing this for a long time. It's not our first rodeo, right? AmpCast is 10x more powerful than what we've had before. But even before, we were generating leads for free for businesses, over 300 here, launching businesses with just amps. And we had people like Yogesh launching his business, promoting it within 24 hours. We got eCom businesses blowing up to 95, almost $100,000 in added revenue per month, uptick of 51,000 using our strategy before we had AmpCast. And people like Jamie getting in the local UK 3-pack using US distribution. We've got people like Shiv who's reselling the power of this. A lot of people tend to do that. They're the middleman, right? So they're like, why should I have to create a product and have to have the stress of doing that when I can just get what you've got and sell it to a business? And that's exactly what people like Shiv are doing. In India, English is a second language, but he's selling to clients in the US. Brilliant. And increasing their traffic by 20% in this case. We've got people like Denka. Once you get experience of having, of this model of being the middleman, he's charging 21 grand up front and 10,500 per month, which is pretty decent amounts of money there. And then Robert joins the 1%. Just by following our training and our advice. And so please act fast. Time is limited. We've only got 40 spots available. Like I mentioned, the Lite will probably sell out on the call. The Pro and the Agency, you can see how inexpensive they are as well. But once the offer is shut down and spots are filled, we're going to shut down everything and focus solely on the training with our group of really enthusiastic and sort of ready to roll core backers, right? So we shut everything down. We focus on the training on Friday, the 6th of June, and we won't compromise on that quality of that training. So, we're very, very serious about that. And so once we're ready, once we've got our core group, we're going to be rolling, right? And we're going to be, we take that responsibility very seriously. And we're very excited to do that. So remember, your backing is guaranteed because you can get more reach and organic traffic, or you don't pay, as I mentioned. So here's what you need to do. Very simple. Click on the link after payment. After payment, you'll be redirected to the confirmation page. You'll receive your login credentials via email, and you can get started, right? Provided this is for you, and if it's not, like I said before, completely cool. Hopefully you learned something today and you got something to take away. It might not be the right stage for you. That's completely fine. It's not, not everything is for everybody, but if you see the power of this, then that's how you get in. As I mentioned, not every feature is available right now. So the development timeline is as follows. You can post your own channels. You've got YouTube Shorts creation, automatically and highly engaging YouTube Shorts creation and look way better. Interview style AI podcast, Twitter X threads, and Twitter X distribution. This is all available right now. But in the coming sort of weeks and months into sort of June, we've got things like the enhanced AI image generation, which is going to be killer. Pinterest distribution is coming. We've got Simplecast distribution as well. Then we've got the likes of Instagram, TikTok, everything slowly being distributed, being sort of rolled out. So you'll have access to all of that in the next few weeks and months. So I'll run through a quick Q&A and then we're going to be wrapping up for today. All right. How can AmpCast help me grow my business? I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? The more content you do and in the more places you're seen, as we mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, the more traffic you get, the more exposure you get. And the more sales that you're going to make, right? And it helps you get more organic traffic because you're listed all over the internet in as many places as possible. Because in order to generate organic traffic, you need content, and that content needs to be published where people are looking, right? And so you can use our tool to generate thousands of topics in seconds. Choose any topic and let AmpCast build a campaign for you in minutes. Review the content and then hit publish, right? And the content will automatically be distributed to over 300 sites. So it legitimizes your brand of the business you're promoting, makes search engines trust you and pay attention, sending you even more traffic as a result. All right. How long does it take to get results? Even at a conservative pace, a business doing consistent AmpCast campaigns will see substantial, if not, I'd say, transformative results between months 3 and 12. And if you want to go faster, then simply do more campaigns, right? So if I need hundreds or thousands of posts to succeed, doesn't this get very expensive very quickly? Great question, and normally it would, but that's where the great deal that you're getting here today comes in, because you end up having unlimited content. So what you've got access to means you can create as many podcasts, as many videos, as many blogs as you want, and you don't lose a credit. So you get 36 campaigns, for example, the 4997, right? You don't lose any of those credits until you publish to hundreds of authority sites to get the distribution, right? And it's only when you hit publish do you get charged. So that means you could be creating and publishing content all week, pick your winner, and then just distribute that one winner on a Sunday, for example. If you did that once a week, you'd only use 4 credits, yeah? But that means you can produce a whole month's worth of content for free and just keep, creating, downloading, repurposing, and using those videos and articles, anything you want. It's pretty awesome. Can I do this for my business? Yes, absolutely. If the business is legal, has a website, you need traffic. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this works for absolutely any business all over the internet, right? How much can I resell AmpCast campaigns for? Well, we've got people starting at $4.95 a month with our previous platform, which is AmpiFire. Others charging up to $1,000 a month once they get more experience, right, for one campaign. And then now we've got people like Denka charging over $21,000 up front and $10,500 per month, right? But you can also charge a lot more, like Denka does, as I said. But you're offering a hell of a lot more than we did with just AmpiFire. So huge amounts of value. How many AmpCast campaigns do you need? Well, a local business in a less competitive niche might see great results with just one full AmpCast campaign per month, maybe 2. An e-commerce business, a little bit more competitive, will need 1 a day. So you can adjust that and figure it out for your business. How is this different to AmpiFire? Well, it's very different because it's basically the next version of AmpiFire. Yeah. So we've improved the reels and shorts. We've improved everything practically. You've got interview style with realistic voices now on the podcast, long form, rich with rich media, deep niche knowledge and authority, short blog style post, extended conversational threads. It's more beautiful, more engaging. And also the distribution is huge because a lot of businesses want the social platforms taken care of so you can consistently build a following, build content, so that's exactly what we do with this. And then you've also got the RSS integration, which if you're technical, you'll be able to create even more distribution channels and create your own distribution channels, which is just unlimited what you can do with that. If you're not happy, just contact support@ampifire.com and you can tell us what you're not happy with and we'll do our very best to resolve it. Okay. And if we can't come to a satisfactory resolution, then simply request a refund for your remaining AMP campaigns within 60 days of your original investment, and we'll get you sorted. Yes, this works for non-US businesses. Any business, they speak English as a business language all over the world. So as an example, you've got Jamie here ranking in the UK 3-pack with US distribution. Does AmpiFire or AmpCast offer discounts? No more than what we're doing now. We're practically doing this at cost, right? As you can, if you know anything about software and what we're doing here and how we're changing the game, you can see why we're literally doing this at a ridiculous price, right? And when we go public fully, we'll be charging probably at least double, if not more. Do AmpCast campaign credits last forever? You have about 2 years until they expire, but considering you've got the ability to do AmpCast campaigns daily, and it only takes 20 minutes to do, you should be able to, use them. The founders special early access means that we're providing early access to a small group of people who want to use our amazing tech before anyone else at a huge discount, which is, but the caveat is we expect feedback. We expect really, really quick feedback so we can roll out features every week and get this built, get this put out into the public as soon as possible, right? So spaces for each tier, you've got light is at 6 spots. We're probably going to, you would typically sell out of the light on the call. or shortly thereafter. You've then got Pro and you've got Agency as well. Okay. So as I said, once the offer is closed, the spots are filled, we're going to shut down the offer and focus completely on the training to deliver that on Friday, the 6th of June. So it's not long left at all now before we shut this down and sort of move towards that. So if you are interested, the final thing I'll say is click on that link, secure your founding back as a special discount, provided you are interested. If not, that's completely fine too, right? And after payment, you'll be redirected to the confirmation page and you'll receive your login credentials via email so you can get started. All right. So I think that's everything. If there's any questions, then please put them in the chat. I can see some coming through. So if you have any final questions, please put them in the chat. We're going to be rolling through now and finishing this off. So it's been a pleasure. Really appreciate you guys being here. If there's any final questions, let me know. If you enjoyed the session, let me know on that as well. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate all of you guys jumping on. So if you are interested, the link is there. It's also in your chat. And yeah, I'll see you on the inside if that's the case. And if not, completely cool. Hopefully you took something away here today. Thank you very much. This is Jay Cruz. I'm signing out. And hopefully we'll see you on the inside. Thank you. Bye-bye.